gotta stop chasing her because she is designed by God to leave you and replace you. I will say that one more time. She does not love you. She is designed by God to leave you and replace you. There is no such thing as mixed signals because women are hypergamous. And that means the only thing that you can do once you have met her in real life is let time work in your favor. If you're wondering if you should pick up the phone and send that text message, just don't. If you're wondering if you should hit that FaceTime button and call her, just don't. Women are hypergamous and they only want the strongest option. And oftentimes the strongest option in her mind is the guy who is not chasing her or is not pursuing her. Or oftentimes once she's met him, he's not even really giving any effort. Her emotions work in your favor through distance and time apart, not time spent. Learn female nature at a deeper level, I made you something. To master female nature at an even deeper level, check out what I made for you. It's in my bio. I put together a whole process to help you learn, understand, and master the language of women.
Politics attracts beta males. What you're going to find is that men who are heavily invested into politics or care a lot about politics either typically become beta males or they are beta males. Politics overall does attract beta males, and here's why. Masculine men who are considered more alpha, what you're going to notice about their mindset or their hardwiring is they typically believe in self-sufficiency. So that guy has the mindset that basically says, I don't really care who's in office, I don't watch news, I don't give a crap at all, like I don't give a shit. Like, I'm gonna focus on me. The emphasis is on independence and just doing the work that's required. So I myself have never watched the news a day in my life. I don't really give a shit what's happening on the news. I don't really care. It doesn't change my day-to-day habits, and I'm going to do the same stuff. Now, men who are heavily invested in politics also live in this delusion, thinking that their views or their beliefs of the world is somehow magically going to change something, when in reality nobody actually gives a shit, and the only thing that changes your life is your own self-sufficiency and striving towards your own goals. That's what actually matters, because it doesn't matter who is in office. That person isn't going to build the business for you. That person isn't going to help you lose the weight or get in better shape. That person also isn't going to help you, achieve the success or get the family that you want, or, the girlfriend or wife that you want, or whatever. None of it matters. So you only have a limited amount of time on this earth. Like, you'll probably only live for 80, 90, or 100 years. I don't really think a man should invest any time watching the TV about politics, because at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter.
If you cannot afford a wedding ring and you propose to her, and she knows that you cannot afford it, and she knows that that wedding ring that you just gave her is going to put you in a worse financial situation, watch her pull away, or watch her start to grow contempt for you. Watch her start to not like you, because what you just showed was lack of competency. What you just showed was that you'll put yourself in a risky or a bad financial situation just to prove or to declare your love. Now, she might smile, she might say yes, she might say of course, she might say, oh yeah, I'll marry you, but deep down, watch what happens. She knows that you essentially just became a sucker who's in love, and you went out and you bought this ring that you can't afford to declare your love, when you should have put that money towards something a little bit better.
If you're not 6'2" and above, covered in tattoos, or have a criminal record that women look at as a bad boy or enticing, stick with me, because you're going to have to frame max and body max. In 2026, as online dating is more competitive than it ever has been, you're going to have to actually tap into her primal desire, and that means you actually look like a genetic alpha. When I say genetic alpha, that means you're going to have a narrow waist, V-taper. You're going to have to really dial in the diet so that way you're lean. You want broad shoulders, broad lats, a good squared off upper chest, and you're going to have that look that screams physical strength. Now, if you have that specific look and you combine that with pretty boy features, maybe you have jewelry, maybe you have specific accessories, maybe you have longer hair, I don't know, whatever the case may be, You are now right in the sweet spot for the female lens of attraction. You can't control your height, you can't control how your voice sounds, but you can control how your body looks. At this point, I advise you to do one thing and one thing only. To solve all of these dating problems that you're going through, to solve them for the rest of your life, so that way you finally have a proven process to learn, understand, and master the language of women, just go and check out what I made for you. It's in my bio, it's in my description. I can literally help you not only attract the women that you want, but make sure that you can retain that relationship without her pulling away and leaving you heartbroken. And that's why I build all this material, is because I have a step-by-step process that you can follow. That way the next influencer, the next game guru, out on the streets doing pickup or whatever the case may be, doesn't have to confuse you anymore. Finally, you just have a process that you can step into and go and use. And when you see how many other student successes are on that page, you'll see exactly what I mean and why I'm the best at teaching this.
This is me right here at about 16 or 17 years old, and dating was an absolute nightmare. Not only do we essentially have an entire generation of men that was raised by women, but on top of that, modern men have an emotional attachment and neediness towards needing female companionship. Emasculation starts at a very young age. What I can tell you is that it is possible to turn your entire life around, but it's going to take you making the conscious decision, to be stronger than you once were. Now, what you're going to find is that when you actually take repetitive action in life, all of a sudden good luck starts to come your way. You have to understand this. With repetitive action and with repetitive dedication, you create your own good luck. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but most guys just quit. They quit too soon. And because most men neglect the decade of work that it takes to actually turn yourself into the masculine man that you want to be, they're stuck in the same mindset, believing that their identity can never evolve. That means who you are can evolve and can change, but you cannot give up. And at this point in the video, all I advise you to do is take that next step. Check out what I made for you. It's in my bio, it's in my description. I'm going to help you learn, understand, and master the language of women.
So this was my face just 3 weeks ago at Christmas time, pounding about 5 to 10 Christmas cookies per day. And this is my face today, just 3 weeks later. The reason why I'm showing you this, the reason why I'm telling you this, is for this specific reason. The reason why you cannot clean up on dating apps, the reason why women are not checking you out, the reason why women are not looking your way, the reason why you're getting passed up on even if you're such a great guy, is because there's a very high probability that you're ugly and that you're holding too much weight that is going to your face. It is not hard to de-bloat. It is not hard to start losing weight. For me, these photos are literally only 3 weeks apart, and it only came from just making minor changes. It's not like I'm starving. I'm still eating a full 2,500 calories per day. But women notice, and when you have a lean and angular face, you look stronger, more powerful, and more masculine. You naturally start to look more attractive. The truth is that once you start to develop proper facial aesthetics, guess what's going to happen? You're going to start to be able to ace the female gaze, G-A-Z-E, or the female lens of attraction. And this is super important for this one specific reason. Men have been taught their whole life to essentially keep bulking up and keep gaining size and grow out a bigger beard, and women are going to find you more attractive because you're now more masculine. But this could not be further from the truth. Women only fall in love with Prince Charming. I first started to notice this at even age 22. Naturally, I more so just had the pretty boy appeal, and I would naturally get women approaching me first all the time. After a decade of true physique experience and being in the gym, I can tell you hands down that getting lean will improve your dating life more than making money, more than attempting to level up status, any of this stuff. You have to actually look attractive, because when she looks at you, she has to say one thing and one thing only: he's hot. Now, you're not going to be everybody's type, but it's going to really broaden your appeal, especially to hot women. If you want to learn, understand, and master the language of women at an even deeper level, check out what I made for you. It's in my bio, it's in my description. I have a full process that you can just copy paste into your dating life and go. It makes dating way easier. This photo right here shows the female gaze, G-A-Z-E, that women find attractive. Longer hair, shorter beard, better style, softer features, almost like Prince Charming. This photo right here highlights the male gaze, G-A-Z-E, that men think women find attractive. This is oftentimes counterintuitive to their goals of having a better dating life. Men think that the more masculine you look, this helps you attract more women.
Men oftentimes believe that what is most masculine is oftentimes most attractive to women, but this could not be further from the truth. So what you're seeing men with bigger, bulky beards constantly trying to put on size, and this is actually working against them. This is why women oftentimes fall in love most with musicians, actors, DJs, songwriters, things like that. You have been conditioned to believe that the more masculine you look, it will be easier to attract women, but this could not be further from the truth. Always remember that when you ace the sweet spot that actually appeals to the female lens of attraction, you will get the most hate from other men. When I actually started doing this the right way, this is when I got by far the most hate. You're going to have other guys call you a bunch of different things, but in reality, they don't have nearly the amount of options that you do. And on top of that, they don't have the dating life that you have. If you want to learn, understand, and master the language of women at an even deeper level, that way you can actually have a better dating life, because clearly you see that the more high value you try to become, it's not really doing a whole heck of a lot for you, then check out what I made for you. It's in my bio, it's in my description. I'll help you learn, understand, and master the language of women. So be sure to check that out, because we have a bunch of dudes right now that were convinced that the more masculine you are and the more high value and the more stoic and all this stuff, you're just going to have this amazing dating life, and you are watching this play out. And a lot of times your dating life isn't even any better. So check out what I made for you. You'll love it. One of the biggest reasons why men can't get laid is because they don't actually understand that to her, ultimately, her biology knows that that leads to family creation. The reason why women optimize for like a combination of what you could say alpha and beta is because some of those softer traits she knows is going to long-term equal parental investment. This is why you're going to see men who oftentimes appear super alpha. Maybe they have tons of muscle, a big beard, they look like big, jacked bodybuilders. A lot of times those guys do not get the hottest women. And then those guys are sitting there wondering why the dude who maybe looks more feminine, or the dude who maybe has softer traits or softer qualities, like he was written out of a fairy tale, why is this the guy that she's choosing? The truth is that ultimately she knows that reproduction and intimacy can lead to family creation, and it doesn't matter if she's on birth control or if you're using a rubber. The fact is that she knows that family could be created. This is how God intended it to be. To learn, understand, and master the language of women at an even deeper level, check out what I made for you. It's in my bio, it's in my description. I have a full comprehensive process, to help you actually attract the women that you want and retain her interest level, and at the same time becoming that actual ideal masculine archetype that she's looking for. But you have to have a process. In 2026, it's getting more competitive than it ever has been. On top of that, socially, fewer and fewer men actually know how to act or what to do. So because of that, I already created a process that you can literally just copy paste into your dating life and go. This photo of me right here operates within the male gaze, G-A-Z-E. And this photo of me right here operates within the female gaze, G-A-Z-E. This photo right here of me operating within the male gaze is exactly what men think is attractive. That means looking more masculine, bulking up and putting on more size, a longer beard length, and a more masculine facial structure and overall features. Majority of men think that women will find this more attractive, but this could not be further from the truth. For example, this photo is me operating within the female gaze. You're going to notice multiple elements of attraction and appeal, and on top of that, we have a unique masculine archetype. Contrary to popular belief, women are drawn to a blend of masculine and feminine characteristics within a man, which is why you're going to notice that if you have a shorter beard stubble combined with typically like longer hair and overall aesthetic harmony with either jewelry or accessories, you'll do much better when it comes to dating apps and women. If you're a guy and you have a lot of value to you and you ask a woman out and she rejects you or she says no, the only thing you should say is, well, you're not very smart. That's it. You should say it completely flat, just like that. Well, you're not very smart. Well, you're not a very smart woman then. That's it. Then you can walk away. Because the truth is this. She'll have a hell of a lot harder time replacing you than you will her if you have value to you. That's what you have to know. So you have to become attractive enough where you can just literally say whatever you want. Like if you're attractive enough and she'll still bang you, You can finally be the type of guy that's like, yeah, I hate dogs, or I don't care about puppies, or I don't care about saving the turtles, and she'll still bang you. So keep that in mind. Like, you have the upper hand here. Looking back at who taught me as a kid in school, like the fact that if I look at my teachers right now, and most of them are all overweight, making $50,000 to $100,000 a year with an ugly significant other, like I literally sit there and shake my head every single day thinking this is actually who taught me. Like, for the model and for the mold of my life, this is who I was supposed to follow. Like, this is who educated me. Like, basically losers. As a child, during my formation years, my formative years of how my brain is actually going to think and how my brain is actually going to develop, you were telling me that I learned from somebody who's overweight, not even making $100,000 a year with an ugly significant other. Listen, when I have kids one day, here's what's going to happen. Every child, I fundamentally believe, should be educated by somebody who is rich, with an attractive significant other, crushing it in life. Most of our teachers were just losers. This is my exact routine and how I eat every single day that allows me to maintain a six-pack for the past 10 years. The first thing that I do right when I wake up is I drink espresso. I have essentially as much coffee as I want because this doesn't really have very many calories, and it allows me to push my eating window further back because it blunts my hunger. This allows me to save my calories for later in the day. Then what I do is I pound an entire bottle of San Pellegrino. So I really like this because the bubbles, or the bubbly water, right? What this also does is the carbonation also helps blunt hunger, and then I can also keep pushing my eating window back. So I break my fast probably around like 12 o'clock noon. So around noon, I usually have a piece of fruit, and this is me eating an apple. This is usually what I break my fast with. This gives me just a little bit of calories, a little bit of carbohydrates, and it allows me to finally actually get some energy, some calories in me. Keep in mind, at this point in the day, I'm still in a huge calorie deficit. Then I'll typically mix in a cigar. You don't have to do this. This is just me. This is what I do. Now, majority of all of my calories every single day are going to be coming from meat and fruit. Okay, this allows me to not be super bloated from taking in too much excess processed carbohydrates such as like bread or pasta, or sugar or stuff like that leaves you bloated. This allows me to have good calories that keeps me full and keeps me focused and allows me to feel good throughout the day. So usually around 12:45 to 1 p.m., I will typically have an entire pound of meat. So today we're going to do 99.1 lean ground turkey, and what this does is this gives me a huge amount of protein right away for not very many calories. So I think that this entire pack of turkey has maybe like 400 or 500 calories total, and this allows me to maintain majority of my muscle mass week by week, month by month, year by year, okay, despite still staying lean. Most people do not eat nearly enough protein per day, and this is probably why they can't make strength gains in the gym and maintain a lean physique. Then what I'll typically do is I'll train, and what happens after that is I spend the rest of my day just filling up the rest of my macronutrients, the rest of my protein, carbs, and fats for the day, usually capping everything at about 2,400 to 2,500 calories. And that right there, that exact routine has allowed me to effortlessly maintain a six-pack year-round. This right here was me completely bulked up at over 200 pounds. Good photos on dating apps were practically impossible. Most men are taught to keep putting on size because they think that women want a stronger, more powerful, masculine look. This is completely false, and this actually shrinks your dating options. Now, after seeing that this was nothing more than an absolute lie, I started to lean down, and this is when dating became effortless, specifically dating apps. I started tracking all of my macros and making sure that I was in a calorie deficit every day. Majority of all of my carbohydrates were typically fruit or vegetables, and then I was eating good lean protein sources. I would wake up and I would weigh myself literally every day to give myself proof that as the scale is dropping, I'm obviously getting leaner. Needless to say, the end result was incredible because I started to see all of the amazing muscle that took so much time to put on now was finally revealed. Guys constantly say, man, I'm maxing out my hobbies, my interests, why can't I attract women? The sad truth that you'll probably have to accept is that she probably just thinks you're ugly. If you want to learn, understand, and master the language of women to have a better dating process so that way you can attract the women that you want and then make sure she wants to stay in your life without pulling away from you, check out what I made for you. It's in my bio. You'll love it. Modern women do not correlate lack of purity with not being wife material. I have been on more than enough dates to figure this out for myself. To them, there is no correlation between purity and being wife material. In fact, even just the thought of this, like for majority of the modern women that you meet, even just them entertaining this thought that might enter a man's head, that a lack of purity would mean that she may not be or is not wife material, doesn't even correlate or doesn't even cross their mind typically. To them, it's like bringing a football out on the basketball court, completely not related. They don't even think of it. Now, whether you like that or not, the truth is most women you date, if you decide to take them seriously, you will most likely be hurt. They will most likely pull away from you and leave you, and oftentimes leave you hurt. And the more seriously that you take them, this is what you have to remember, is there's a different dude from the past that she was not able to lock down for a relationship, and that's the dude that she actually wants. That's the guy that she really wants deep down, and she'll never tell you this. Men need to be taught that women will never love you ever the way that your mother did. We understand you want unconditional love. We understand that you want your mother's love really bad and that every other woman broke your heart. And we understand that you're craving that soft touch and intimacy and you want a shoulder to cry on when the day is bad. But listen, she is not designed to love you the way that your mother does. She is designed to test your strength, okay? To prove to herself that she should keep banging you instead of all the other guys. And then she's designed to emasculate you and then discard you. And if she can do those steps, you better believe that she will find a different guy to replace you with real quick. This is not fairy tale like you were taught. You were taught that the whole world is a fairy tale and women are sugar spice and everything nice and they can do you no harm. But what you are slowly seeing is that you were lied to. Check out what I made for you. It's in my bio. It's in my description. I'm going to help you learn, understand, and master the language of women. Here's why selling my Ferrari 488 allowed me to detach from the materialistic world. And on top of that, it allowed me to see how most men are completely blinded by materialistic status. We have an entire generation of men that were essentially raised to believe that their self-worth is determined based on how much status and money that they can acquire. And despite status and money raising his attractiveness short term in the eyes of shallow women, this does one terrible, terrible thing to his soul long term. Long term, he's becoming a weaker, more emasculated version of himself due to the fact that he's chasing things that were designed in order to control his subconscious to make him feel like he's not good enough. This is why most men, what you're going to see, are purchasing homes that they can't afford, cars that they can't afford, or on top of that, they're doing the next thing to keep up with the Joneses. What you're going to find is that women do not care what type of car you drive, and on top of that, anytime you have to use some type of materialistic external status to raise your own attractiveness, you are now subconsciously communicating to the world and to that woman that you are not good enough as is. You finally start focusing on bum maxing, and on top of that, you stop giving a shit about what everybody thinks of you. You actually start to unlock a new level of presence that most people could only dream of. And all of a sudden, you're going to see dudes who are very rich look at you and say, how did that loser or that bum get her? Follow this page for more wisdom to help you up level as a man. If you are a beta male, you need to stop getting married. You need to stop trying to wife up these women. If you are multiple pounds overweight, if you are obese, you do not belong committing to a woman. The first sign that she gets as some alpha pipe, the first sign that she gets, you better believe she's going to be sucking and swallowing until the end of the weekend, and she'll turn her goddamn phone off and she ain't going to message you at all. And it don't matter if you bought that $10,000 ring. It don't matter if you bought that $20,000 ring. You're paying for vacations. She don't give a shit. You got to understand she don't give a shit. She either views you as a dude that she has real sexual desire for on a primal level, or guess what's going to happen? She's going to finesse you for resources and security and protection, take your fucking money, and then bounce. If you're a dude and you have not slept with at least 10 to 20 women in your lifetime and you think you're ready for commitment, you have another thing coming because you have no real world experience about women. Women fall in love with the least genuine men possible. I can almost guarantee this. If you try to be genuine with a woman, she'll end up hating you. Women fall in love with dudes who are fake. Women fall in love with dudes who have superficial charm. And women fall in love with dudes who basically know how to put on the act or the persona of seduction. This is what I can tell you. If her mom absolutely loves you, you're like in the sweet spot. If her dad like doesn't really like you, or like he's not sold, you're also in the sweet spot. However, the reverse is also true. If her dad goes to her and says, "Oh, I love him, he seems amazing, he seems like such a good genuine guy," that's a man that you should really have a future with. I can almost guarantee you that the relationship is on rocky footing and it is the countdown to it being over. This is why you must learn, understand, and master the language of women. Check out what I made for you, it's in my bio.
Bitter pill that a lot of guys have to understand is that women do not typically want conventionally masculine men until they are old. You have to understand this. What women chase in their younger years is chaos. So this is why women oftentimes are most aroused by guys who are constantly up and down in their emotional state. The behavior is erratic. There's no sense of stability. Maybe he's out running around on the streets or partying or whatever. Okay, and these are the men that she's going to choose to sleep with through all of her 20s and probably a good part of her 30s. Okay, your conventionally masculine traits that should be rewarded, like discipline, dedication, hard work, good at making money, honest, would be a good family man. She will not value these things until she is old, because now she's looking at her sense of security for the long term. You have to understand that she does not care about what you want. She only cares about what she wants. So to make this easier for you to understand, so that way you can actually attract and keep the relationships that you want, check out what I made for you. It's in my bio, it's in my description. I'm going to help you learn, understand, and master the language of women. The reason why you have to learn, understand, and master the language of women is because majority of men meet that special someone and then all of a sudden she pulls away and leaves him heartbroken. So the entire reason why I made this process is so that way you have a step-by-step guide, like, hey, just do this when you first meet the woman, now do this the first 1 to 3 dates, now do this when it comes to managing and maintaining the long-term relationship. I give you an entire sequence. That way you don't have to guess anymore. You're able to just finally copy-paste the system, the process that I already made, use it, and just go. So the reason why women claim that they can't find a man is because women are truthfully attracted to degenerate trash. So I know that this is counterintuitive to everything that you believe or that you have believed, but women are actually attracted to degenerate trash. So let's say she meets a guy who, has his shit together, is going somewhere in life, maybe even has a lot of money or real world status and real world success, especially amongst other men in, say, maybe like the corporate world. Sadly, that does absolutely nothing to make her feel anything. This is why you'll notice in, like, let's say high school and college, the dudes who were constantly throwing the parties, the dudes who were constantly doing the most drugs, the dudes who were always partying and never had any, like, life trajectory or purpose, these were the dudes who were banging not only most of the women, but the hottest women. What you have to understand is that it's not like these women just magically grew up and all of a sudden they changed what they're attracted to. No. Life circumstance changes as she ages and her long-term security needs tend to kick in. But this is what you have to remember. She is still most attracted to the degenerate trash that she was when she was younger. So what you always have to remember is that with women, okay, the worse you are, okay, to them, bad equals arousing. And no matter how that makes you feel, no matter what your mom told you about being a good guy, or no matter what your dad told you, doesn't really matter. These are the cold hard facts you're going to have to realize. And any dude who's had his fair share of success with women or has banged more than 10, 20 women understands exactly what I'm talking about. If you want to learn, understand, and master the language of women at the highest level, check out what I made for you. It's in my bio. It's a gift. You'll love it.